This looks like a job for Superman.
Welcome to Super Pals. I'm Jared. Robert will be here shortly, but today we are just doing a general Q&A on everything Superman related. You can ask us any questions that you guys would like us to answer. Excuse me. So yeah, it's any questions that you guys would like. Hey, what's up, Thoth? And any Superman related questions that you guys want to hear to get answered, and I will, and then hopefully when Robert shows up, he will as well answer any questions. So let's go. First off, Superman is pretty dope this week. I've been enjoying reading Superman, and there's like a ton of really interesting stuff going on right now in terms of like where the Superman comics are going, the character, and the thing about Superman that I think is he has going for him is the movie and stuff. And I feel like DC capitalizes on it properly, then there is a good chance that they could be able to like actually profit on it. But Lord knows DC and profits sometimes don't align. But yeah, it's a fun few days to check it out. But yeah, so what other what Superman related questions do you guys have? Because we've got a lot of good Superman content and stuff coming out. Any questions that you guys would like to have answered? It could be anything you guys want, especially about any character you guys would like to see us talk about. Any Superman character. Because currently, the thing that I'm seeing with Superman is there is a little over-reliance on nostalgia with the way Superman seems to be handled by DC Comics. And then you also have the inevitable, like, constant... What's the word? It's like a constant, like, it's like it's essentially constant, like essentially constant like bashing of Superman's Kryptonian heritage in exchange for the human heritage. And here's the thing, I get that like Superman is like essentially a human, even though he comes from Krypton and that most of the stories take place on Earth. But you can't ignore that part because he is a science fiction like character. Like that's not a thing. You can't ignore that. There's too many writers that want to just ignore the fact that he is a Kryptonian. And I'm like, that does, particularly when you're dealing with the fact that Superman's an immigrant, like allegory, it doesn't look good for you. But anyway, what other questions do you guys have for me and hopefully for Robert when he shows up? Any Superman related question that you guys would like to hear? To be any question that you guys would like to hear. So because currently, okay, so the Superman books that I'm currently really enjoying, I am liking a lot of like Absolute Superman, and I like how it basically is how they're redoing a lot of Superman's origins and stuff, but there is a part of me that's like, okay, when are they inevitably going to like to jump into just doing the going more toward the classic Superman, even though that's not like any of even though that's not any of the like even though that's not that's let me put it this way, Absolute Superman, the problem with that is that I'm having like the concern of, are they gonna make this just like regular universe Superman, even though that's not the way like this version of Superman is supposed to be aligned. And that's my concern, because it's like, if you make the alternate universe Superman exactly like Superman, what is the point of having an alternate take on Superman? That just doesn't make a lot of sense for me. But too many of these like creators are like nostalgic for stuff, and then inevitably what that leads to is they let the nostalgic take over, as in the case of like Superman, Wonder Woman and such. Hey, what's up, Somar? It's like, it's also why the Superman Wonder Woman like relationship was like hurt, if you will, by like Tomasi and all this stuff. And I'm like, again, I get it if they really, if people prefer other relationships, I get it. Because to a certain degree, I would feel the same way. It's just the problem is you lose that. Hey, what's up? What's up, Martha? But yeah, that's like the big problem there. It's like too many of with Superman is that he's not allowed to grow as a character. If he were, that'd be a lot. It would really aid the character. It's just too many of them. And to a degree, I understand, like when Sam Liu came on my channel, one thing he said, I say this all the time, but I think it bears repeating, is that everyone is like attached to a iteration of the character that was when they got into comics. And you know what? That is honestly your right as a fan. And the fun part about it is that's the beauty when it comes to like comics. And the problem is, because let me put it to you this way, I'm a big fan of the new 52 era Zack Snyder Superman. However, most of my collection is like post-crisis stuff, like 80s and on. So it's like, yes, it's like you know, let me be clear. You could say, I think that this era was the best. It's 100% fine. You're allowed to do that. But when like you're a writer and you're assigned to write a certain iteration of the character, you can't like completely ignore that. I don't understand where that comes from. It's kind of odd, if you will. But yeah, but the other thing that I see as a big problem with the Krypton thing is like too many creators. Okay, so here's the thing. Post-Christ Superman, the big difference there is that they wanted to make it so Krypton was like a past memory, and Superman was more like of the human character. And I get that. They wanted to make a difference from pre-crisis, because pre-crisis, which is golden age up until the 80s, they wanted it to be more of that was more science fiction, and he was less on the Clark Kent side. Post-crisis, which is 80s up until 2011, Superman was more in line with it's more of the, if I could summarize in one statement, it's that Dean Cain line where Superman is what I can do, Clark Kent is who I am. And I'm like, I get it if that was the iteration of the character, but the problem with it is that leads to people overemphasizing characters like Lois and thinking that, hey, if he stops being with Lois, all of a sudden he could turn into Injustice Superman. But anyway, Somar says, I don't mind comedic nor dramatic, but the writing needs a good thing, aka without the cliche. I see. Like, I like Christopher Reeve 1 and 2. I like Lois and Clark, both comedic. That works. Someone says he doesn't like Christopher Reeve 3 and 4, and Gunn is at the comedic. I see. And then JWH says, if my chat would actually like populate here, but it's I'm reading on YouTube. Is Superman Jewish? I think he's more Christian, if I remember correctly, because he landed in Kansas. Why is there no black Superman variant in any comic? There is. I mean, if you're talking about any comic, let's be clear on that. If you're talking about any comic, well, we have Calvin Ellis, who was the president of the United States in Multiversity, and then on the Earth 2 side of the comics, from the New 52, you had Val Zod. So there you go. You said in any comic, that's where you can go with that. If you're talking about mainline, because here's the thing about mainline. The thing is, I'm against there being like 80 variants of a character because I think ultimately it just dilutes what makes the character unique. Like put it this way, I'm against the super family concept. Like there was a pair in the comics, I think it was Dawn of DC, which was like a couple of years ago, where it was like 5 Kryptonians on Earth and in Metropolis, and I'm like, who commits crimes in Metropolis when there's like 80 gods that are going to like attack you? Anyway, Somar also says, I like Man of Steel, Superman and Lois both. I like those two. What's the difference between Calvin Ellis and Val Zod? Calvin Ellis is a different Earth variant. Like, hang on. I'll get multiversity. Hang on. Where is it? Here we go. All right. Calvin Ellis, it's right here. Calvin Ellis is, let me get to the multiversity guidebook section, because they have a section that just breaks down the entire alternate reality breakdown, if you will. He's the Earth 23 Superman. He's the one that's modeled after actually Barack Obama, and he is president of the United States. Val Zod on Earth 2. And by Earth 2, I mean the set of comics that came out when the New 52 happened, and they wanted to do like more of an Elseworld stuff and still do like just society like stories. So they did that. And essentially what happened in that story is the Trinity is killed by Steppenwolf in battle in the very beginning of the series. So there's no Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. But what you discover is Val Zod, the child of Zod, if you will, traveled to Earth from Krypton and was like captive and agoraphobic, but then he later got over that, and he became the main Earth Superman. The reason why I asked if Superman is Jewish, because A, there's proof his name is Kela, which is the Hebrew name, and Kryptonians where Hebrew calls Superman is based on Moses. Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm saying according to if I don't think they've ever really addressed if he's Jewish, but based upon the fact that in the comics he celebrates more of like the Christian holidays, I would assume based on that he is Christian. I've never seen a menorah in a Superman comic. I could be wrong. If he is, okay, cool. But it's like you could say that like he was based around that stuff. But as far as the way the writers have taken him, I believe he's not Jewish. Could be just me. But yeah, that's an interesting way to take it. But yeah, so to answer Somar's point again, Val Zod and Calvin Ellis are both two different variations of Superman on two different Earths. So DC has done the Black Superman concept. That's why when Warner Brothers announced a Black Superman movie written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, trust me, that was horrible in so many different levels. That's why everyone's like, why don't you just use Val Zod and Calvin Ellis? And the Robert's here. Hey, brother, what's up?
Hey, sorry about that.
No, it's all good. So yeah, correct me if I'm wrong again, but Superman, the character himself isn't Jewish, right?
No.
Yeah, that's
he's agnostic.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, we went over that when we went over Redemption.
Yeah, exactly. Jay, so Jay also says, is the pink kryptonite thing canon?
Yes.
Wait. Do you mean pink kryptonite as in the kryptonite that makes him gay? I don't think that's a thing.
No, that's not. But the one that gender bends him was in action.
Okay, that's what that is.
But it has it as not comic canon.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in terms
of what questions did I miss, by the way?
You missed someone asking. Okay. Obviously, someone asked, why isn't there a Black Superman variant in any comic? I'm like, there are two.
There's two.
I literally named.
Unless you're trying to be like, oh, why isn't there a Black Clark Kent? You don't need one.
And if you're talking about in canon, having too many variants of a character just like dilutes it. And by
It just like a pre-crisis.
Yeah, is it true in one comic that Superman repopulated the Earth by breeding with all the women? That was
Yes, yes,
yes, that is.
JLA,
true.
JLA, but that one was always through genetics. He didn't bang them all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yes, it was. Well, to be fair, the only one we see deliver a baby to term was Lois. Everyone else, there was a time skip. We don't know what happened.
Yeah. Comics, everyone.
And the funny thing is, the only woman who had a different child compared to everyone else, the only others, even Lois's kid, looked identical to each other, was Power Girl. She was the only, that was the only child that was a girl with blonde hair. All the other ones were guys and boys with black hair.
Yeah. JH also asked, why does nobody know Superman is Clark Kent when he has the glasses on?
Okay, I got this one. It's how he presents himself. It's how he carries himself. It's a bit of an act, a performance. But it's also a case of even in post-crisis where he still was able to show off his build. It's still a case of how you're not. I mean, just because people look at it, they're not going to think, "Hey, you're Superman," because they're also going to look at everything else. No, seriously, look at anyone else you know. Do you really look at their face, or do you look at how they act?
Well, the other thing, and the Gunn movie actually addressed this, which is interesting, is there are some versions of canon where the glasses distort his face for anyone that looks at him. At least some versions do it. And Robert, I think I lost you. Then Jay, which says, "Is Brightburn canon to Superman?"
Sorry about that. I had a phone call.
Yeah, Brightburn is not canon to Superman because Brightburn is not a DC property.
What? Wait. Seriously?
Well, yeah, it's like Brightburn is not a DC movie. It's a parody on Superman, but it's not an actual.
It's basically, it is to that what Homelander is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it makes Homelander look like a children's cartoon. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say it was Brightburn. The one thing that bothers me the most with that movie, it was a case of nature over nurture. It was like perfectly sweetheart, then flip over a switch.
Yeah, it's literally like
he was overridden. The original kid dead.
Yeah, and I'm like, why is that a thing? Why do people compare Superman to a god? Because of his powers. It's because of his powers, and also, it's not only that, it's like his positioning in the DC universe as like the one everyone looks up to and the ideal that's very godlike, if you will.
But I always do like when it's like, oh my, I would have finished that sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
I always prefer where he's quick to cut someone off before they finish it, rather than let him say it.
Yeah, it's like in terms of if Superman is like Christian. For me, it's more like he's Christian, but it's like they don't really deal with it that much.
I look at it as like from what Redeem shows, he understands the Christian value over everything because that's what Jonathan and Martha took him to. But he respects them all, and he doesn't. He obviously is not a devout believer.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like, and it's definitely not like he's gonna force his beliefs on people.
No.
But yeah, and it's like if we're taking off the version where he's dating Diana, because he's also a savior. That's the other thing. He's kind of in that position.
Yeah, well, that depends on what you believe about God.
Well, yeah, that is true, but it's like that's the other thing. It's like I understand that like the writers based upon a lot of like Jewish ideals, but one of his most important stories is the one where he essentially dies for everyone's sins. Just saying. But yeah, so what other questions do you guys have about Superman? Any questions you guys would like to?
You got it? Well, do you have any questions for me, Jared?
Yeah. So what is the deal with? We're still having the debate about like the Krypton, Krypton versus Earth. Is there ever a time we can just where I'm not saying you and I, Robert, obviously, but I'm talking about with general Superman fans can go, can we just like decide that like both are okay?
I say this. Here's what I think it should be. Now, I know you're going to disagree with me in this, but I personally feel it should be anywhere between 60-40 to 75-25 division in Earth's favor because you're set on Earth. He was raised on Earth. All of that. That's why what?
He's wearing a Kryptonian cross. He uses the fortress. I don't care if it's a recent canon. It's current canon.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. But here's the other thing: is most people don't on Earth do not look at it as a Kryptonian symbol. They just look at it as
I'm saying he does. That's the difference. The fact is that a lot of writers write him where like he's ignoring the fact that he's Kryptonian.
Well, here's a question for you. Where does he live? Did he live in the fortress?
He occasionally lives in the fortress.
No, he doesn't live there. He visits the fortress. He only lives there. He will only stay there if he needs to keep an eye on something that's there. But it's more the equivalent of a summer home. I mean, it's in the Arctic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. But that makes no difference, though. It's like, but he's still like living out essentially his father's ideals, though.
That's up for debate.
Current canon, Robert. I'm going by current canon.
By current canon, you got to include Oz into the equation.
Yeah, but Oz even admitted, yeah, I screwed up.
Well, that's one thing BMB had him acknowledge.
Yeah, I betcha. But my point is like if we're in a continuity, which we are, where the S crest is the symbol of the House of L, he knows that. I know the people don't know that, but he knows that, and he willingly wears the S.
But here's the other thing, though. He's wearing it just for that identity, and yes, maybe in a lot of ways for the show represent Krypton. But it's not like he is using any Kryptonian values in his message or anything. It's just in the costume. Nothing else. Everything else is from what he had.
Values.
What?
He's using Jor-El's values.
That's up for debate again. You could argue he's using more the Kent as well.
No, I'm saying you have the balance. With Nine Mind, it should be 50-50.
I do not agree because it's still set on Earth.
So is any superhero story nowadays.
Exactly. So I mean, I would.
Like, if you're gonna have Superman be an alien, you can't ignore that part.
Then here's something else. Then by that logic, then Hawkman should be more Thanagarian.
I mean, the best versions are when he's Thanagarian.
But he does not bring all that to Earth.
Well, let's not also add out to the fact is that it's like saying that Green Lantern can't be on Earth, period. Can't be in space, period, because he's a human.
I'm not saying that, person. I'm not. But here's the thing, though. Superman choose to fly off to Earth and everything. But here's the other thing: he's more representing himself when he's on the space. Goes to space. He represents himself when he goes to space more so than he does representing Krypton when he's in space. He's more representing just himself.
And yet people see him also as a representative of Krypton.
If they know what Krypton even is.
Most planets in the solar system, at least in the stories that have been written now, is that.
That's true.
By the way, Jay asked if we got every Superman version to fight, who would win? Silver Age, there was no limit to what that man could do.
I'd say post Death Metal.
Okay, why?
Because that includes everything.
Oh, yeah, everything's canon.
That's what Death Battle did.
And then that was undone. But yeah, that still works.
Well, I'd say it's not fully undone. Again, I think it was more just more explained.
Elementus says, the way I see it, Clark values his upbringing in Smallville, but the more he learns about Krypton, he does respect his heritage without it overtaking him. Yeah.
But again, that was always the problem pre-crisis had. It did overtake.
Oh, I'm not debating that either, because that is objectively true.
You try to tell some of these people that they deny it.
Same reason why early post-crisis did when the opposite. I said early, because they eventually balanced it out a little more.
Try and tell people that. Try and tell people that.
Yeah, why does Superman wear the underwear on the outside of his pants? Well, that was a reference to the circus strongmen of the time. I think it's like outdated because even wrestlers don't wear it on the outside of their pants anymore. So
I still disagree. It's basically, it's one of those. It's been built up where people more expect it.
I would debate that because in the movies, most of the Supermen from Returns and on did not have it. I mean, after
Returns had it. It was just the Snyderverse.
Yeah, and that was the one for like the longest time. I would argue
the longest time.
Yeah, I would argue they do. Let me put it this way. I argue they shouldn't do it anymore because it's become a joke now.
I'd say it can work. It can be done. You just have some people. I'm not talking about you, but I'm saying you have some people who try to make it a bigger joke than it actually is.
When other superhero movies are making jokes about that particularly, that's a problem.
Hey, Batman still technically has shorts, but they just match the rest of the coloring, but he's still wearing them.
Not anymore. Oh yeah, currently he does. Let me put it this way. No, I'm against it. Period. I don't care if
Batman can get away with it.
I don't care if no. I'm against it. Period, because I think it looks stupid.
Okay, I'm saying no, but if people keep giving Batman a pass for whatever reason.
Yeah, I know it's stupid. It should be at no point that they should like have it too. And Superman and Lois, that was in the flashbacks, but all the other suits he did not have the underwear.
Fair enough.
As far as I can check, that's the other one there. Jared Whiteshore says, what was the plot of Superman taking over the Earth that Zack Snyder was working on? How does it affect Justice Snyderverse? That was more of he's under the mind control of the anti-life equation and Darkseid. It wasn't like he turns into Injustice Superman as some idiots on the internet try and claim.
Right.
I'm like, that's not that. And then Elementus says, in my opinion, Superman smashes the Klan, heralds this concept quite well.
Oh yes, but that's because it also, you and I went over that. Remember, Jared?
Yeah, exactly.
But if that was still tapping into the circus strongmen because that was what it was back then.
JHW, why would Superman hate the Tibetan monks that taught Batman?
Wait, what?
Why would he hate the monks?
Where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't understand that question.
He never hated any of the monks.
Yeah. I don't think he even knows any of the monks.
Yeah, that's weird.
But anyway, it's like the thing about it is you need a certain writer that understands how to get the balance right between the two like things. Wait, because the plot armor of Batman has needs more. That's not Bat God. That's not the Bat God part of it is his money.
It's his money and his sometimes wavering genius.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the Tibetan monks.
Yeah, what the heck? And remember, it wasn't just the Tibetan monks that taught him. It was so many other people.
Yeah, like, again, Ra's al Ghul taught him.
Well, that's only if you go by the movie.
Oh, yeah, that's I forgot that's not a comic book thing. Oh,
no, okay. That's not. Remember, now, the guy that was posing as Ra's that Liam Neeson was playing, Ducard was a person who taught him. They just combined the characters.
Okay, yeah, because Liam Neeson was at first playing Ducard, and it was revealed, hey, I'm Ra's al Ghul.
And you had a traditional, more Asian like race in like posing as him.
Or like that one person in the party that didn't know how to pronounce it, so she goes, Mr. Ra's al Ghul.
Again, I keep on saying this. If Danny O'Neill says both count, I say both count.
With me, it's like it doesn't matter. Also, hey, what's up, Cameron? Does Superman know that Lex Luthor is financing Wayne? That's not what happens.
Wait, what?
Where's that coming from?
No idea. See you, Chris.
Yeah. What if Superman learned to attain magical powers would still be a weakness?
Bye.
It's not a weakness. It's a vulnerability. There's a difference.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It basically is a case.
I'll handle this. The thing about Kryptonite's the weakness because if he's exposed to it for so long, it literally kills him.
Yeah, magic is more like it cuts through his defenses.
Yeah, and Cameron, we're just doing a Superman question and answer session.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, because you also have certain fans on either side of the argument that do constantly argue that one should be over the other.
Now wait, where's this whole Lex Luthor financing?
I have no idea.
Where the heck is that from? What?
Elementus says, I was actually talking about the Kents versus the Ella debate and how it handles how Clark reacts to his origin revelation. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, wait, why does Lex Luthor carry Krypton in his pockets? Is it
Okay? First of all, when he first did it, he didn't know it was cancerous, and that's how he lost his hand and had to go through the whole clone body thing. But not all versions of Krypton. They wait. Post-crisis initially kept it was cancerous to humans. They've since then gone back and forth with it. Because now we have a whole kingdom of it, and no one's getting cancer there.
Yeah, exactly. If they were cancerous, then Dan Slott just gave everyone in the world cancer.
So again, originally it was cancerous. They have since, but again, pre-crisis it wasn't. And I think they kind of realized you kind of limit yourself when you make it that way.
What comics? Because Jamie says, also, I was researching where Bruce Wayne gets his money. Bruce Wayne gets his money from Wayne Enterprises. That's not a thing.
Yeah, and Lex wouldn't rather not unless he plans on buying out Wayne Industry. Why would he?
Let's face it, Lex knows Bruce is Batman at this point.
Some versions.
Yeah, but the point is, why would he do that? Why would he fund Wayne Enterprises?
But going back to that earlier statement,
either way, it doesn't work. Wayne Enterprises does not fund LexCorp.
No,
that's not a thing.
But Bruce wouldn't. And the only time I ever saw that was in Lex Luthor Man of Steel, and that was supposed to be an early days Batman.
But that's not. It's not a canon thing in the comics currently.
And even then, that was something that was more kept vague.
Yeah. So I don't know where that's going, but what do you want to say, Robert?
Going back to Elemental about how the origin revelation. That's why it was buried. He didn't find out until he was already a grown adult.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, because then he's mature enough to process it.
Now, granted, that also leads to the side effect of, and here's the other thing is, I think people are judging the whole I'm an adopted thing too broadly and assume everyone reacts the same way. Not everyone does, and as I always look at that one statement Byrne had him say, I know all the stuff, I can recite hymns and everything, and in the end, it's ultimately meaningless, because remember, he doesn't have the fortress when he says that, and it was just all shoved into his head. What's he going to do with it?
The problem is, this is from a man that called immigrants ungrateful for wanting to keep a little part of their culture.
And I'm not going off of the man's viewpoint. I'm going off of what's on the page.
Yeah, but the problem is, you also, not only for the adoption thing, Superman is seen as like an immigrant story, and you're basically telling the immigrants, not intentionally, to like get over it.
That's true. Well, here's the other thing. Remember, technically he wasn't an immigrant because he was born on Earth.
Now he is, because he was born on Krypton and sent in the ship.
Well, okay. Now, I'm not focusing on where we are currently. I'm talking when Byrne was working on that.
Okay, well, I'm talking about current canon.
Oh, yeah, current canon, you are absolutely right. Again, my whole point is to talk about when in that variation of it at the time. I'm not trying to then justify it currently. I'm just saying at that point.
Yeah, and then JMD says, does Superman know Batman is Bruce Wayne? Yes.
Yes.
100%.
How he finds out is always different.
I loved in the new 52 where he just scans him and goes, oh, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I always prefer where Batman knows at least enough that he has the lead-line cowl already.
True.
And I'm sorry, that was one thing with the anime series I hated, and I think even the creators admit they regretted it because they had to just speed it along. Superman would never just casually peek without a reason.
Yeah, that's true.
That was beyond stupid and so like, really, Clark? Really?
And Jay, it's because Black Adam 1 underperformed. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yes, I have seen Just League Action. I in fact interviewed Jason J. Lewis on this very show on Super Wonder.
Well, again, as far as the cancerous kryptonite, that was again trying to keep it more grounded and thinking if it's giving off radiation of any kind, it should be cancerous. But again, that worked when kryptonite was a rarity. Once you made it more common, making it cancerous, it limits everything.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just like eventually you gotta go. Okay, no, we're not dealing with
Yeah,
that.
but again, have it be a rarity, perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not like everyone's going to get canceled. That's what it leads to when like Krypton is this thing that's like everywhere.
Yeah, again, like what's going on in Superman Unlimited. It doesn't make any sense now.
Where did Darkseid and Lex Luthor go at the end of JLU?
You know,
To the source wall, I think.
And technically they died.
Yeah. Anthony asks, guys, why do you think the mainline universe is struggling in this alternate universe? Wait. Are you asking why is the main universe struggling compared to the absolute universe? Well, there's many ways you can approach that. Hey, what's up, NJ? First off, you can approach it as maybe the stories aren't as interesting to like newer comic book readers. Let's be clear.
That's one way. That's one way.
The other way is like it's because the absolute universe is like a new thing right now, and new things for the most part, well, relatively new. But you know what I'm saying. In comic book terms, it's a new thing, but it's like a gimmick stuff. But the thing is, and then Anthony says, no, I mean, in general, I think even Marvel's mainline stuff is struggling. Oh, well, in Marvel, there's a lot of reasons why the Marvel one is struggling.
Well, to be fair, though, let's be honest, that's more applied to Spider-Man than anything else. I don't think Black Panther, well, there's no Black Panther book going on currently, but I definitely don't think Ultimate X-Men or Ultimates were outselling, well, Ultimate X-Men was outselling the X-Men books.
Yeah, exactly. But JMD said, does Absolute Superman have a no-kill rule? As far as I know, none of the Absolute characters have a no-kill rule.
Exactly. Now, it's up for debate if Batman had actually killed anyone truly.
I mean, cutting off someone's hand with an axe.
Blowing up Bane, but we know Bane's alive.
Punting a child. That will never not be the funniest page in a Batman comic.
Whoa. The 90s animated series, I will not go far as say it sucks.
No, it doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. That's actually one of the best parts of the DCAU is that series. Yeah.
But again, wait. We've been over this guy before, haven't we? He thinks they nerfed him.
Yeah,
which they had to. They had to.
Yeah, exactly. It's like any animated version of Superman, they've nerfed him. And yes, I did enjoy Justice League Action. It was really fun. Yeah,
again, they have. If you're going to go something that's mainstream, you have to.
Yeah, you really do. You can't like do that. 90s animation sucks. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that too. It's like it doesn't suck at all.
No, it doesn't. It depends on the animated show, and you could say like certain portrayals of the characters suck, like Wonder Woman.
He was saying Justice League Action sucked too.
No, he wasn't.
Or he didn't, because it said like you like that series sucks.
It's not a 90s animated series.
No, but I'm saying about like that series sucks. You like Justice League Action,
yeah,
so it's...
yes, I did. If you're talking about it went comedic, that was the whole point of the show. It wasn't meant for like mature. I mean, they did have some mature stuff, but you know what I'm trying to say here.
Yep. But again, here's the thing: Superman, you need to, otherwise, because again, especially when he keeps having that whole, he's a unrelatable god.
Yeah, because here's what you guys have to understand: when they're doing anything outside of the comics, and this includes animated series, movies, and stuff, they are going for a different audience. They are going for the general audience, and the general audience won't be able to relate to someone that's so godly that like anything can bash off. And they didn't trash him in the animated series.
They didn't. He was at the same level he was at post-crisis, which was a more grounded but still impressive level, kind of like what Gunn did.
Anthony asked, what before the Justice League series was Martian Manhunter ever really popular in the comics?
B-level.
Yes, he was.
B-level.
Oh, yes, he was. He was a founding member of the Grant Morrison JLA run, which I believe was going on at this time.
He was always a member of a league in some way, shape, or form up until New 52.
Yeah, exactly.
New 52 was the first time they truly dropped it.
Oh, it's okay. Good. I don't know why chat's giving you an error. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And for Cameron, yes, that is Cameron's question on the magic question. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can. Any magic user could harm Superman. Absolutely.
Well, the attack can do, of course.
Yeah.
It's not like bubbles are going to hurt him.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
the best way to put it. It's not bubbles would not just kill him because they're magical.
Yeah, exactly. And then
A magic sword can literally cut through him.
The general audience see him in the animations and he's a wimp. No, he wasn't a wimp in that anime.
Where do you get this information from? Do you know every single general audience?
I'm saying they had to weaken him because the general audience wouldn't see him that strong. He wasn't a wimp. He kicked Darkseid's ass at the end of Justice League Unlimited. Remember the World of Cardboard speech?
Yep, and here's the other thing, Samarian. Here's the other thing is, more people, U.S. general audiences, they obviously they want to find balance. Yes, and the 90s cartoon did give it that. It's people do not want the unstoppable God.
And here's the thing: we had that with pre-Crisis Superman, and that got old real. That's where the Superman's reputation of him being like an unstoppable God came from.
MJ, we already talked about being kryptonite earlier.
And yes, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, it's fun to play with, but it's like
I prefer the gender bender one.
Yeah, that was the better one, I think.
Because you know why? It connects to red kryptonite. It's just more specific.
Yeah, because the red kryptonite, if I remember correctly, just inverts the morality, right?
No, that's black. Red kryptonite is the random lottery.
Okay, I was confused.
That's where you get lion head, ant head.
Yet another thing Smallville got wrong.
I know, right?
As you guys can tell, I'm not the biggest fan of the Smallville series.
It was what it was.
It was what it was, and I get that it was operating.
Like I said, but yeah, let's make this clear. No, as powerful as Superman is, there's a reason why even post-crisis, even current stuff, they show him at his peak, but they still rein him in because they have to.
Yeah, they talk about this in the behind-the-scenes stuff. They said they had a problem. How do you challenge Superman? We have to weaken him a little bit.
Again, even Gunn, that's why Gunn even did it. Because they have it, because as long as he's the most powerful out of everyone else on the planet, that's fine.
Yeah, and by the way, Anthony, I can see them. It's just for some reason Chit Chat is glitching. Keep sending them. What I was saying is that they don't see him as incompetent. They never said that.
Yeah, again, Samarian, where are you getting this from? Some of the people in your circles, that's one thing. Claiming that's everyone, clearly not, because it did well.
And JHWH, see, here's the thing. That's a joke that Kevin Smith did, but the thing is, he can moderate it. And it wasn't helped by that damn Frank Miller book.
Well, not just that, there was also the article, Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there is that. I did read the comment. I did. Well,
yeah, we did. Wait, what I was saying was when they see him incompetent, they don't enjoy him, but say, I didn't like him because he's so powerful. But when they see him competent, they enjoy him. When was he incompetent?
Yeah. But by the way, Thoth, see what you can do about that, man. And then Jared, with Absolute Martian Manhunter, do you feel the first 5 issues are tripped? Though, see, here's the thing. I'm starting to understand what's going on with Absolute Martian Manhunter. Like, I think they're going more for like a Venom-like thing, but it's very hard to understand that damn book.
Yep. Jade, whoever. That depends on the version of Krypton.
Yeah, because if you're going by the Krypton show, it was Sag-El. If you're going by someone else, you're going by the comics, there's a lot of different things. It really depends.
Yeah, for example, you have a beat there where there was a Clone Wars. Begun the Clone War has. Yeah, like that led to them going all scientific. You have a beat, they were always a utopian society, and which makes their destruction, while sadder, even more stupid.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry, I can never accept it.
And Nancy says, Jared, has Marvel announced that they're going to replace the Ultimate Universe with... Okay, the only thing I do ask, please keep the question Superman related. We're going to do a Q&A for Comics League Dark, but please keep questions Superman related. Superman was living his peak content in the 70s. That's not all true, though.
If that were true, they didn't need to reboot. They didn't need to do a hard reboot. If that were true.
Exactly. So, Is it true Superman is based on the Egyptian god Horus?
What? No, he's
No.
based off of, if anything, he's
Moses.
based off of, Moses, but also John Carter.
That too, exactly. Well, and
Original Superman.
Anthony says, what version of Superman in the comics, alternate or mainline, do you feel is the most overpowered to the
Pre-Crisis?
Pre-Crisis, absolutely.
Juggling planets.
All-Star. Maybe All-Star.
Except we never saw him doing the juggling planet thing.
That's just true. You're dealing with a Superman that was pulling solar systems on a chain.
So Martin's saying, like, but since 90, wait,
I'm trying to send okay. I think that's the problem. Don't like send a bunch of messages because YouTube is going to count those as spam.
Exactly. You got to be wary with that. But again,
Anthony also asked, do you prefer All-Star Superman or Superman for all seasons?
Ooh, yeah.
That's a good question, man.
The thing, for all seasons, it's more canon than not.
Yeah, exactly. All-Star cannot be canon at all.
Obvious. And again, All-Star was meant to be the Silver Age, not the Bronze Age. The Silver Age continued.
Oh, yeah, and Elementa, Zorro was more of the basis for Batman, I always took it.
Yeah. Superman, it was never that. It was always John Carter. And because remember this, here's something people need to remember. Siegel and Schuster originally wrote him as having psychic powers originally. Yes, we are nerds.
Yes, thank you.
You're just learning that out. You're just learning that now.
You're just learning that now. I mean, we're talking about a guy that dressed in spandex and has a cape. So
I'm sorry. I always thought that was Tristan because I'm so used to her just coming in somewhere saying.
She does that too.
Nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, that's funny because she's nerdette. So
yeah. Jared, this applies to Superman. Is there one character that's a hero that you feel in Marvel that can beat Superman outright?
No.
Thor.
Thor has the best
He has
chance.
the magic. Let me put it this way. It won't. No character with Marvel will stomp out Superman. Let me be clear about that. Thor stands the best chance because of the magic.
But even then, as JLA Avengers show, Superman can still put up a good fight even with that.
Yeah, exactly. But since the 90s when Bruce, I'm just saying he's not like it wasn't like they weakened or made him a joke. In Absolute Superman, well, why did they get rid of the black AI suit and replace it with the class? First off, it's not the classic Superman suit. It's still the other suit. It's because he's more of like, because before he was like, the way I took it is that Absolute Superman now is embracing being on Earth now.
And here's the other thing is, I also look at the black suit as like, that was the default setting. He's now customizing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, exactly. Elementa says, Siegel said Zor. Oh, okay, good, cool. And then Cameron says, okay, hear me out. Hear me out. When we get to reboots, we get a reboot. However, the Superman editorial has a mandate to have Clark be the last
20 years
that lasting.
20 years.
Yeah, post-crisis.
20 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's not lasting very long. Jared, I agree with you. Thor's the best. Yeah, exactly. The AI suite has run its course story. The AI suit. Yeah, I think so too. Who would win? Sentry versus Superman. Still Superman, but Sentry would give him a fight. Let me put it to you that way.
But let me put it this way. Superman, here's the one thing you have to remember. Superman has dealt with people of his own power, and he's dealt with beings like the Void.
Yeah, I mean, if Superman has fought Zod, that's on the Sentry side. But yeah, Superman has fought like Void-like enemies before and won. So that's what the way I take like the power scaling thing. Anthony says, Jared, when you look at the Superman movie, why did they choose those androids from? All-Star? It was All-Star.
And pre-crisis in general.
A little bit, but I know Gunn specifically pointed to that.
So Marion, I can... Oh, sorry.
Wait. Is Zor-El a good guy in the DCU? According to the directors, yes. According to what happened is Gunn originally wanted Zor-El to be bad to line it up with Superman, but the writer refused to do it. Like, thank you.
Okay, so Marian, I will give you that. There were people complaining in JLU how Superman kept getting trounced. Even the creators admit they could have done that better. But that did not hurt people's view on him still.
Well, the other thing is like, because the show is Justice League. He can't solve everything.
Exactly. But Sentry at the bottom was telling, that's a figure of speech.
That's a figure of speed, and plus Superman gets his. Let's take that as true, all right, Robert. Where does Superman get his powers?
From the sun.
Yeah, so if anything, that would supercharge him. But that's the thing there. Yeah, especially when we his early story, Superman did a lot of stealth and acrobatics. Oh yeah, that is very.
Because that was the John Carter levels.
Yeah, exactly. Jared, what's confusing about the Superman movie? Were there at any point in the comics where Clark's parents were? Okay, some versions, but it's very rare.
And most of them were Elseworlds.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's the one where I will agree was disrespected in the JLU. That I will agree with.
Yeah, but like I said, look, we can agree though. Justice League, that's the case where much like Superman and Flash were the ones like people want them on board, but how do you write it in a way that justifies it? Even Martian Manhunter, you got to keep on coming up. That's why they feel like I can't read their minds. It's really annoying.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Take the Snyder cut for example. As soon as Superman shows up, Steppenwolf gets his ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay.
Cameron has a point. Cameron does have a point. No, except McDuffie. Except for McDuffie.
This is the one time I'm not going to use that against them because that's not about bat worship. That's having to all of a sudden write God characters like that.
And McDuffie was not a Batman writer.
Yeah. How many kids does Superman have with people other than Lois? He has altogether, obviously not at once, a lot with Diana, because if you count Kingdom Come. And Elementa, try typing your comment again, man. Speaking of Superman stories, is your guys' favorite or least favorite Superman story? Ooh.
Oh, we've been over this before.
But I'll let's do it again. Tevye was kind enough to ask. I would say if my favorite Superman story is probably either Superman, Wonder Woman, obviously, or Birthright. Birthright's freaking dope, man.
Birthright is really good. For me, one that I still go back and reread time and again is Up and Away.
In terms of like, let me see. In terms of like my least favorite Superman story, there's not a lot that I've actually hated. That's the thing about Superman. In terms of hated,
I want to say, of course, the Death and Return also is one of my all-time favorites.
I was about to say that better be favorites now. I'm gonna have to go with, if I have to go with the ones that I hated, a Superman story, Superman Reborn from Rebirth.
I would disagree with that
because it was petty from my perspective. Hey, Elementa, try restarting your browser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what YouTube is doing right now because I didn't screw.
Same with you. So Martin, also I would reset on your end too.
Yeah, try restarting because this. Wait, why is Superman older than Supergirl? Oh, because so he crash landed. So what happened is that they both left at the same time, but she got like caught in like a portal or like a wormhole or something like that. So time passed differently for her. He landed on Earth and aged.
Except that's post-crisis. Pre-crisis, she was on Argo City, which actually was able to live a good couple of years after Krypton exploded. So he was older than her.
Yeah, exactly.
So that post-crisis had to try and get rid of Argo.
Yeah, is it canon that no, not
no.
Canon.
In fact, there was an issue where he even said if there was anyone I would be with someone like you, but even though there are laws that can allow it here on Earth, Krypton, you were forbidden. So sorry, cousin.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I wish I was making that up.
I'm going to use this clip. Whoever wrote that story.
Le who? The her.
There you go.
Yeah, that was the one that also tried to head and where Supergirl did find someone who matched him and matched her that wasn't related. But, wouldn't you know it, the woman doesn't like yellow solar rays. It would kill her.
Okay. Lord Thought says, in Adventures Superman 247, Superboy meets the Legion. I love that story. That's a good one. I like that one.
But anyway, as far as my least favorite.
I want to hear this.
That is a hard one. That's an actual least. And I'm not going to count BMB's run.
JH asked, whatever happened to Maxima? She's back as far as we know.
Yep, we saw her in the Treasury book.
We saw the good version of Maxima restored in the Treasury.
Not that there's anything wrong in general with the lesbian version.
The not petty one. Let me put it to you that way.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I'm trying to think on something because I'll tell you this: even the Chuck Austin run has some entertaining moments.
And by the way, thoughts, are you talking about the entire last 15 years is your least favorite Superman story? What do you mean by that, brother?
Yeah, what do you mean?
But yeah, Wonder Woman's power level. Again, keep question. Oh, actually, no, this is related to Superman. Wonder Woman's power level has never been respected or accurately shown in media. A literally divine being with powers of the gods, being Kryptonians in comics, and yet still weak.
Here's the thing, though. Her being Kryptonians more comes from her skills dealing with Kryptonians who don't know how to fight. If she was to go one-on-one with Superman purely, while it would be a tough fight, I still think Superman would win in the end.
Let me put it this way. It's like, also the thing is, it's like, yeah, it is. And you have to believe that, like, with like the existence of Zod and Feora, that Superman would teach Wonder Woman like weaknesses of Kryptonians. I guarantee you he would.
By the way, I do have another all-time favorite, Secret Identity.
Oh, that's a good one. That's the Jeff Johns one, right?
No, that's the Kurt Busiek one. That's the one with him and Stuart Eminem, where what if Superman was on our world?
I was thinking of Secret Origin. There's too many secrets.
No, Secret. Okay, here's a really bad one. I've said it before, and again, Teladia, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Superman True Brit.
Okay, I see that.
I really do not like that one.
Yeah, Jay says is Steel still canon? Steel is still canon to Superman. What are you talking about? Steel shows up in the books.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I missed the gold, silver, and bronze age zany stories. Not every issue in the last 15 years, just most. I'll give you that, brother. And then Albert says the scene from the Aquaman episode annoys Superman fans. Which scene are you talking about?
Yeah, what Aquaman episode?
Tevia says Secret Identity was such an underrated story and kind of reminded me of Superboy Prime's origin. Yeah, that's interesting. And then wait. For the question, how do I know what peeps are saying? It's because Bruce Timm himself admitted that no, he didn't admit he was doing it to make people not like Superman. He admitted he was doing it for a story reason. But
then he also admitted he went too far.
Yeah, so there are many, but he never said he was making him a wimp.
No, they were just trying to make it be a case where how can we have Superman be there but not have him solve the problem every time?
Well, it's like Superman being like constantly electrocuted and stuff. Yeah, that's a problem.
Exactly.
But I didn't say it. But you said no. But you're saying here that it's because Bruce Wayne stuff admitted to making the Justice League. He was talking about how much peeps are saying Superman's a wimp, but he didn't mean that was his intention. You're saying that was his intention.
But when did Diane ever move the sun alone without Superman?
Yeah, alone, because she's done it with the Justice League, but not alone.
Yeah, if I do not, NJ, do not know of her ever pushing it alone without any outside help.
I'm just thinking trash. Okay, that's your opinion then. That's your opinion then. Actually, speaking of Superman, that reminds me, what is your guys' favorite Superman quote from the Justice League Unlimited World of Cardboard speech?
Of course.
Mine is the World of Cardboard, because that summarizes Superman where he goes, I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard where I can touch something.
Okay, yeah, you're looking at what he said. He did not say Tim did it on purpose. He just simply said how many people are saying Supes is the wimps on the forums. I do not have him saying that people on forums were it. Tim is not usually one to bring up forums.
Yeah, he's not one that says it, but
he might be saying that people might have it went overboard with it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because he has admitted they do admit we went overboard at trying to make to tone it down or try to keep Superman from overpowering the story, but that's all he said.
And then NJ says in the Black and Gold comic, which can okay, that is true. That is true.
Oh, to be fair, that is not absolute canon.
No, but it is. Let me put it this way: it lines up to stay in canon. I'm gonna give NJ this. I'm gonna give it. I read that comic. I will give NJ that.
Fair enough. That is fair, but
that definitely happened. I read it myself.
All right, but can she easily, for strength, beat out a Kryptonian What's completely under the yellow sun?
That's not what the comic was, though. It was can it move the sun?
I know, but that's what it's saying. I was like, and lifted object universal in weight, the Cronus scepter. But here's Superman has lifted literally infinity.
Yeah, but I'm still of the opinion that Wonder Woman. I will agree with NJ that Wonder Woman is the most powerful DC character, in my opinion, at least. I'll give her that. So there you go. JMD says, why is it with Bizarro's debut, he is identical to Superman, but after the fighting for Feige, he got to form lost intellect? Bizarro.
Okay, depends on which version.
Yep.
Okay, if you're talking about, like, say, the post-crisis version, that was because it was a clone that was deteriorating.
Yeah, exactly. And so no, he's not. Superman is not the most powerful character ever. He's a powerful character. Don't get me wrong, but he is not the most powerful.
But here's the thing, though. Also, so Marian, yes, one can argue he is the most. He can argue that, but who really wants to read it when someone's basically watching someone play a play stream on God mode? It's boring. Unless there's a good story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can't. Supes embodies victory and perseverance. He can't. But yes, I'm not saying I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying he doesn't have to be the most powerful character, because that's how you get, to Robert's point, that's how you get his, we know, unjustified reputation of being a boring character. That's how you get that.
Exactly.
Pretty sure it's either the presence of spec. That's also true. That is also very true.
Okay, the presence is not the Spectre. Superman. The presence is God.
Yeah, exactly. Alimenta says secret identity is based on what if Superman Prime didn't have his world destroyed by Crisis.
No, not really, because even here, this is a Superman who doesn't even have the Kryptonian origins.
And then, Dr. Manhattan, Deadpool, Dante from Devil May Cry, Damask. Yeah, so? I mean,
they're not, even they are not boring. And Deadpool is definitely not uber powerful.
Yeah, Deadpool's not uber powerful, and Dr. Manhattan, that was the point of the character, and then he died. They did something interesting with him.
And even Dante is still grounded. He can still get beaten and tossed around. And Spawn has so many weaknesses. And the mask is meant to be like fitting the whatever story it's telling. And yes, the mask itself may be indestructible, but the person itself can still suffer the consequences.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a very thin line when we're talking about power levels, because obviously when it comes to like the enemies Deadpool faces are not offering any challenges, is my point. He gets faced with challenges all the time. I don't know what that's for.
Yeah, and again, so let me put it this way. None of those characters you've listed have been considered OP'd to the point where he's boring.
Yeah, that's where Superman was. Right? Jamie says, is Watchmen considered canon? Watchmen is a world in the multiverse. That's the best I can explain it, because Doomsday Clock is a separate reality. The Watchmen universe and Doomsday Clock is established to be a separate reality from the main DC timeline. And
to be fair, that was also an alternate Watchmen anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't like the Watchmen.
Exactly.
Which that would be cool, but still. The thing is, pre-Crisis Superman in the Bronze Age had stories where he struggled. The issue was consistency. That is very true. He did. It's just too many because here's what the writers ran into with that. And Robert, you can correct me if I'm wrong. They would want to write a story where blank happens, but they're like, how does Superman overcome this? Just add a power.
Yep. And now that, remember this as well. Denny O'Neil tried to nerf Superman, even half his powers. And what happened? The very next one, creative team came around right after his stuff. That was after Krypton Nevermore. He's right back to being OP'd again.
And Somar, I never said being powerful is boring. I said being the most powerful can be perceived as boring from other people. That's why Superman gets the reputation.
Hence my statement of God mode.
Yeah,
right?
okay, hang on. Depends on the type of fan. Yeah, exactly. It's like actually speaking of Spawn, that reminds you. Do you think Superman and Spawn would team up in a story? Sure.
Probably.
Sure. It's not about overcoming stuff. It's about spectacle. No, in terms of like for people to identify with the character, it is about overcoming stuff. I mean, there's spectacle to it, but that can only get you so far, as with the 90s just
Mm-hmm.
said. So there you go. That's the thing. I'm talking
And
about.
here's the other thing also. We're not talking about us. We're talking about the general audiences. And for the longest time, the general audience saw Superman as, he's boring. Who cares about him?
Yeah, exactly. And Somar, you're putting a comment to both of us. If you're upset that we're refuting your arguments, that's fine, bro. But please try to be a little nicer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm deleting this. But anyway, but it's like that's like the point there. And then Carrie Bates and Elliot Mangan knew how to write OP Superman, but not everyone else. Graham Morrison also knew how to write overpowered. Because here's the thing. All-Star is awesome if you take it because it's an Elseworld story. You can make Superman as powerful as you like, and that's the way that really works there. But so let's see what else we get. And then we get okay, so NJ says, now I remember that feat where both Superman and Wonder Woman lifted the infinite weight, Spectre's gigantic body, if I'm not wrong. So in theory, both have near limit. Now, here's the thing on that NJ. That's both Superman and was that both Superman and Wonder Woman together?
Yes, both of them were lifting it. But here's the other thing, though. Superman was the only person to ever hold up the book with infinite pages.
Yeah, so I'm like, if he does it alone, that's where you're right about that. But
so you could say Diana's half infinity. Superman has shown elsewhere to hold full infinity.
Yeah.
Also, something else. Diana's never been shown to hold a black hole in her hand.
And then someone says, yes, that's what they say, but that's because they don't know how to. No, it's because not everyone is like on board with like a ridiculously powered Superman.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is.
Like I said, would you agree with that part? Has Diana ever held a micro black hole in her hand and survived?
As far as I know, no.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's like she could though. But anyway,
we don't know. We don't know that.
Wait. With Shazam, Robert. Well, again, here's the thing: if Diana in order for Diana to have these feats, she has to do it alone, not assisted by another hero. The Sun thing, I'll give you because she did that in the Black and Gold book alone.
And here's the other thing: Shazam was turning the page while Superman was holding it.
Yeah, exactly. And then Tevi says, speaking of Superman, that reminds me of Injustice. Superman and Homelander met each other. What do you guys think would happen?
Homelander would just, Injustice Man would completely just wipe the floor.
Yes, yeah. I'm like, if regular Superman could destroy Injustice Superman, it could destroy Homelander. Injustice Superman certainly could murder him.
Okay, by the way, Elemental, the whole turning back time thing, I need to convince that he technically didn't turn the Earth around. What happened was he was going so fast, but he had to spin around the Earth so he can keep an eye on where he's at. If he's just flying through space, how the hell is he going to know what where to stop, what point to stop at?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And pre-Christ Superman could go through time.
Yeah. I can see that being the cause. And then somewhere it says, I'm not mad at you. I'm just putting it in half. Yeah, but again, it's like we're talking to both of us here. Do you think Injustice Superman would have killed Harley Quinn just for being a Joker fan? Yes.
Yep.
100%. Harley,
forget being a Joker fan. She was there.
She helped the Joker. Yes, exactly. I was about to say Harley.
Forget being a fan.
Yeah, Harley specifically. It's not. Yes, that would hurt. That would hurt her because he did kill all those Joker fans. But if he killed her, it wouldn't be because.
Here's something: if Punchline came about as a Joker fanatic, if she came about in Injustice, would he kill her? No.
I would say no. Yeah.
Unless she taunted him.
Yeah, and it's like, remember in Injustice, he killed all those like Joker fans because they started throwing crap at him. And then Somar says people still say to this day they don't like him. Like people came out of Gun Superman saying I like Mr. Terrific only when you ask why. they say Super's too powerful, but I'm like, where was that? He got thrown. There were powerful feats in that movie, but again, it's like, look,
that's a minority. That's a minority. What you just listed.
And they can't have Superman be overly powerful. Like, put it this way, the age on when the like pre-crisis Superman level strength is good, is like, no, it's like sustainable, is gone.
Yeah, in fact, again, they still struggle with that here, even currently in the comic. Yes, basically, here's the thing about Superman. He has access to near infinite level strengths based on the fight. But he will in the comics, but he will only utilize it when it's needed. In a movie, however, you're gonna have people questioning, well, if he can do it, why can't he do this and that? You gotta kind of remove that option from them.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying when I say that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Elementa says, remember when in Convergence they destroyed the Injustice universe? Yeah, exactly. And it says, speaking of the MSU, now that we are near the end of KO, do you think Superman is going to be King Omega? That would explain why Superman is gone in the books following KO.
We know it's going to be him and Batman in the final fight, and we know Batman's going to still stick around.
Yeah, can Superman kill a version of Darkseid? If he wanted to, yes.
Depending on which version.
Yeah, if you're talking about regular Darkseid, like one that's like everything's merging to one, no.
Well, he could, but he would need a lot more. It would be a much more, you have to actually tell a good story to get to it. If we're talking about current Superman against pre-New 52, pre-Final Crisis, Darkseid, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's a good place to leave it. So this as a fun little Q&A, and then we'll talk about that. So for Wonder Woman Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about Wonder Woman's relationship with Cheetah and why it's not romantic. And
get ready for the backlash.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Yeah. For Under Two Capes, we're going to be talking about Final Crisis. And then for CLD, I'll be doing a birthday Q&A for Super.
Can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. For Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are going to be discussing how each of we've taken a selection of the couples we've covered and how they would celebrate Valentine's Day. And then as far as Amazon answers, I got to look at the list and figure out which one is up next. And the comic Athena, the Goddess of Thunder, it ends its funding in a few days. I will check real quick. But while I do that, Robert, where can we find you, brother?
You got the link down in the description, and I'm coming up this Sunday. I'll be doing my 666 PTN. We're live, where I cover iZombies. God, when else are you going to reach that number? Only once.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Athena ends in 5 days. So here it'll end on Sunday, February 15th. There you go. All right, so I will drop it in the chat so you guys can back it if you want to, because it's funded, so you're gonna get your book. So this is gonna be really fun. I can't wait for this. By the way, Dave says Superman can kill an avatar or aspect of Darkseid. Superman cannot kill the. Yes, this is the excellent way to put it.
I'm gonna be singing.
But you cannot kill true form Darkseid unless he's singing. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Grant.
To be fair, I looked at that was Superman, and that was Darkseid's last hit point.
Yeah, exactly. And Thought says, already funded, I think I was 3. Thanks, brother. That really appreciate that.
Yep.
Anyway, stay at work, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She blows dribbles Zod.
Peace, Super.
And we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.